When most of us think of a science lab, we think of test tubes, chemicals, and lab coats. This is called a wet lab. But wet labs and white coats aren't for everyone.
So my name is Maulik Kamdar. I am a second year PhD student under the Biomedical Informatics Training Program. I'm working with Dr. Mark Musen in the Biomedical Informatics Research Center. I came from a poor family in India. So the Human Genome Project just completed in 2003, and that time I was in my middle school, and that's when I first got interested, and I always wanted to become a genetics researcher.
Maulik works with data, a lot of data. Every time a patient is cared for by a doctor, the results of their care are recorded. Maulik sorts through all those cases and tries to make sense of them.
So in biomedical informatics, we try to integrate different kinds of data sources and knowledge sources and try to mine them and analyze them as well as visualize.
Copy this over to Excel, you can graph it, and then you'll be able to make your standard curve.
Currently, biomedical researchers face a lot of problems in getting the information that is required for some particular experiments, and my motivation is to develop systems which help them to intuitively discover what they require for their hypothesis and formulating their hypothesis. One of the main passion is, like, for me it was data visualization, like trying to build platforms which can show clearly what your data represents, so that the say for example a biomedical researcher or any other domain researcher does not have to go down to the underlying data to see what he's looking for. There are many other implications in this, like say for example in drug discovery, where the initial phase, like querying different data sources and doing literature reviews, and you search like 100,000 compounds and then narrow it down to 5 potential compounds. That is the main essential part, and sometimes you require platforms which can simplify this entire process. You always have to be ready for failure. If your manuscript is not accepted for publication in a journal, or sometimes the experiments fail altogether and the research direction that you are pursuing is not the right direction. As the saying goes, like, failure is the stepping stone to success. Like, for me it has been some key moments which have been which can be cited as failure, but I was happy that sometimes that happened so that I could learn more. The main key essential is, like, you should be passionate about what you do, and that's what always, like, drove me.